Okay, let's dive right in. I want to start with a question, and it's one that might just completely change how you see the world. Think about it for a sec. A lot of us would say yes, right? We're taught that being kind keeps us safe, that being generous makes people loyal to us. It's this idea that's so deep in our culture, you could almost call it the myth of protective goodness. But, and this is a big but, what if that's not just a myth, but a flat out dangerous lie? That's exactly what the famous, or maybe infamous, political thinker Niccolò Machiavelli argued. So today, we're going to dig into his take on the surprising and sometimes shocking cost of being good.
All right, so why call it a lie? I mean, that's a strong word, right? Let's get into it.
Well, here's the problem with what you might call blind goodness. When you're just always kind, no matter what, you become predictable. People learn that you're not going to push back, that you'll always say yes. And what happens then? You might accidentally become the office doormat, or that one friend who always ends up picking up the check. Your goodness, your best quality, starts looking a lot like a weakness that people can take advantage of.
Now, Machiavelli's quote here is brilliant. He's not saying don't be good, not at all. He's saying you can't only be good. To survive, you need to be versatile. You've got to be a fox sometimes, smart enough to see the traps people lay. And other times, you need to be a lion, strong enough to scare away the wolves. Just being a passive, gentle sheep, well, you can guess what happens to the sheep.
So this thinking leads us right into two major traps that well-meaning people fall into all the time. The first one is what we'll call the generosity trap, and it works in this really weird backward way. The more you give, the less people seem to appreciate it. It always starts out great, but trust me, it can end up in a pretty dark place. And here's how that cycle works. It's a psychological thing, totally predictable. The first time you help someone, they're so grateful. Thank you, thank you. The 10th time? It's just expected. Your amazing kindness has just become their new normal. So what happens on the 11th time when you finally say no? They don't remember the 10 times you said yes. Nope. They only get angry about the one time you said no. You suddenly become the bad guy. There's a name for this, by the way. It's called hedonic adaptation. It's basically the engine driving that whole generosity trap. Our brains are just wired this way. Something that was once amazing and special, like your help, quickly becomes the new normal, the baseline. So your favors stop feeling like gifts and start feeling like something you owe them. It's not even that people are trying to be jerks, it's just how we're wired to adapt. And this is Machiavelli's whole point. Value is tied to scarcity, right? If you give out your help gradually, strategically, it tastes better. It keeps its value. But if you just flood people with constant, nonstop kindness, well, ironically, you might just be destroying its power. Okay, so we've seen the problem. We've seen the traps. So what's the solution? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. It's all about transforming your goodness from a weakness into, believe it or not, a weapon. And we call this strategic goodness. Now hold on, this doesn't mean being fake or manipulative. It's not about that at all. It's about being effective. It means you use your kindness, your generosity, like precise tools. You deploy them with a purpose to get a real positive result, instead of just, throwing them around for nothing. Yeah, it's about controlling your image. It's about knowing when to show that soft, kind side and when to show you've got a backbone of steel. Machiavelli had a term for this, the mask of virtue. And again, it's not about being a liar. It's about control and timing. Think about a surgeon, right? They have to cause pain with a knife to heal you. The action itself looks harsh, but the result is good. It's the same idea, managing how people see you to get to a better outcome. And this quote really nails it. Perception is reality a lot of the time. If you can control how people see you, as someone who's kind, for sure, but also strong, generous, but definitely not a pushover, that's when you earn the kind of respect that lets you actually get things done. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. How do you actually do this? Here are the rules of engagement. Rule number 1, you have to understand the economics of power. Look, your time, your energy, your money, it's all limited. It's like your personal bank account. If you just give it all away with no thought, you're gonna go bankrupt. And when you're completely drained, who can you help then? Nobody, not even yourself. The airplane oxygen mask rule is the perfect analogy for this. You know the drill. Put your own mask on first before helping others. And that is not selfish. It's the absolute requirement for being useful to anyone else. If you burn yourself out trying to save everyone, you just become another problem for someone else to solve.
Taking care of yourself is what lets you take care of others in the long run.
Okay, rule number 2, and this one's a little tough to swallow. You have to focus on results, not just your intentions. Here's the harsh truth. The world doesn't really care how pure your heart is. It cares about what you actually accomplish. Good intentions that lead to disaster, well, they're still disasters. And this is where we have to talk about the huge difference between being nice and being good. They are not the same thing. Nice people try to avoid conflict. They tell you what you want to hear. But good people, they aren't afraid of conflict if it leads to a solution. They'll tell you what you need to hear. Nice just maintains the peace. Good actually creates positive change. And sometimes that's messy. So let's take that infamous quote, "The end justifies the means," and look at it in a new light. It's not a permission slip to be a monster. Think of it like this. Your good intentions don't mean a thing if they don't produce good results. The real measure of your goodness is the actual positive impact you have on the world. Your actions, and what comes from them, that's your legacy.
So, when you put it all together, it really comes down to a fundamental choice. Is your goodness a weakness, or is it a weapon?
So here is a super practical tool you can use, like starting today. Before you say yes to anything, stop and ask yourself these 3 questions. 1, does this actually line up with my own values and goals? 2, can I do this without completely draining my own battery? And 3, is this person actually going to appreciate this, or are they just taking me for a ride? If the answer to any of those is no, then it's okay to say no. You can be polite but firm. This is how you make sure that when you do say yes, it means something. It has power.
And really, that's the bottom line here. Goodness without a strategy is a trap. It'll leave you used up and vulnerable. But goodness with a strategy, that becomes your most powerful weapon. It's a tool you can use to influence people, to protect yourself, and to make a real, lasting difference in the world.
So it all comes down to you. Are you going to let your goodness be a weakness that holds you back? Or are you going to master it, sharpen it, and turn it into your greatest source of power? The choice is yours.